Let's close our eyes and our attention on the silence that's deep in the mind. Connect with the silent witness. You are the silent witness. Now, from this level of the silent witness, listen to the words of the Yoga Vasishta. Book 4, Chapter 1, continuing with verse 29. There is nothing in any way like a substance in the substantiality of that being. If there is anything there, why is it not visible to us? There is nothing that comes of itself. And nothing material comes from immaterial spirit. Who can believe a hill proceeds from the hollowness of an earthen pot? How can a thing remain with another which is opposed to it in its nature? How can there be any shadow where there is light? And how does darkness reside in the disk of the sun? Or even coldness in fire? How can an atom contain a hill? Or anything exist in nothing? The union of a similar with its dissimilar is as impossible as that of a shadow with the light of the sun. It is reasonable to suppose that the material seeds of the fig and rice should bring forth their shoots in time. But is it unreasonable to believe that a large material world be contained in an immaterial atom? We see the same organs of sense and their sensations in all men in every country. But there is no uniformity in men's understanding, nor could there be any reason assigned to their difference. Those who assign a certain cause to some event betray their ignorance of the true cause. What produces the effect, except the very thing by some of its accessory powers? Throw far away the doctrine of cause and effect, invented by the ignorant. Know the truth that there is no beginning or end, and it appears as the world. Chapter 2. there is no material explanation for the world. It exists only in divine consciousness. Vasishtha said, "Now, Ram, who best knows the knowable?" In order to dispel your belief in any separate existence of the world, false fabrications of men, I will explain that there is only one pure and empty principle of consciousness. If we assume there was a germ of the world in the beginning, it still leaves the question, what were the accompanying causes of its development? Without cooperation of the necessary causes, there can be no vegetation of the seed, as no barren woman is ever known to bring forth an offspring. In spite of the seed contained in her womb. If it was possible for the seed to grow without the aid of accompanying causes, then it is useless to believe in the primary cause when it is possessed of such power in its own nature. It is Brahma himself who abides in his self, in the form of creation at the beginning of the world. This creation is as formless as the Creator itself, and there is no relation of cause and effect between them. It is wrong to say that the earth and other elements are the accompanying causes of production, because it is impossible for these elements to exist prior to their creation. To say the world remained quiescent in its own nature, together with the accompanying causes, is like talk proceeding from the mouths of children and not of the wise. Therefore, Ram, there neither is, nor was, nor ever will be a separate world in existence. It is the one intelligence of divinity that displays the creation in itself. So, Ram, there being an absolute absence of this visible world, it is certain that Ram himself is all throughout endless space. The knowledge of the visible world is destroyed by destruction of all its causalities. But the causes continuing in the mind will cause phenomena to appear to the view even after their outward extinction. Elimination of phenomena can only result from the elimination of its causes. But if they are not suppressed in the mind, How can you eliminate the sight of phenomena? There is no other means of destroying our false conception of the world except by a total elimination of phenomena from our view. So Vasishtha says we have to eliminate the sight of phenomena. We have to eliminate phenomena from our view. How is that possible? Does he mean just keep your eyes closed all the time? This is not a direct instruction. It's an indirect instruction. The result of which will eliminate all phenomena. Because where does phenomena arise? Well, he says in 11 that elimination of phenomena can only result from the elimination of its causes. So the causes of phenomena are karmic traces. There are two levels of karmic traces. Individual karmic traces and the divine karmic traces. If we wish to be free of all phenomena, we want to totally eliminate phenomena, we have to eliminate these two levels of karmic traces. And of course, we know how to do that. Verse 13, it is certain that the appearance of the visible world is no more than our inner conception in the emptiness of consciousness. The knowledge of I, you, and he are false impressions on our minds, like figures in painting. Vasishtha is telling us very clearly that all phenomena whether it be our individual thoughts, memories, or the so-called external world of trees and mountains and hills and lands and seas. This whole mirage is an illusion arising from conceptions of the mind. And these conceptions of the mind have their source in the knowledge constructs of the unconscious mind located in the Manomaya Kosha. Everything, including knowledge that this is a Kalpa age, life and death, is a mere conception in the mind. It is the playing out of individual and divine karmic traces. The purpose of Yoga Vasishta is to balance all individual and divine karmic traces by revealing them to awareness and giving the opposite to create the balance. Verse 15, knowledge of the duration and termination of a kalpa and great kalpa, and that of creation and beginning and end, were mere misconceptions of our minds. It is the mind that conceives millions of kalpas and billions of worlds, most of which are gone by and many are yet to come. The 14 regions of the planetary spheres and all the divisions of time and place are contained in the infinite space of supreme consciousness. The universe continues and displays itself serenely in the divine mind, as it did from before and throughout all eternity. It shines with particles of light that consciousness, as the sky is full with the radiance of sunlight. The inexpressible light thrown into the mind by divine consciousness. This is Parama Jyoti, which is Krishna's effulgence. Shows itself as creation, which in reality is a baseless fabric by itself. It does not come into existence or dissolve into nothing. It neither appears nor sets at any time, but resembles a crystal glass with certain marks in it, which can never be effaced. Creation's display of themselves in the clear intellect of God. As the variegated skies form portions of the indivisible space of endless vacuum. These are only properties of divine consciousness. As fluidity is that of water, motion of the wind, eddies of the sea, and qualities of all things. This creation is only a compact body of divine wisdom, and it is contained in divinity as its component part. Its rising and setting and continuance are exhibited alike in the tranquil soul. The world is empty, owing to its lack of any accompanying secondary cause. It is self-born. And to call it born or produced is to breathe the breath of a madman. Purify your mind from the impurity of false misrepresentation. And rise from the bed of your doubts and desires. Drive away your protracted sleep of ignorance and be free from the fears of death and disease with every one of your friends in this court. Chapter 3. The world is eternal. There can be no creation or dissolution. Ram said, but it is said that Brahma, the Lord of creation, springs up by his memory at the end of a kalpa and stretches out the world from his memory of it in the beginning of creation. Vasishta answered, so it is said, O support of Raghu's race, that after the universal dissolution, the Lord of creatures rises by his predestination and at the commencement of a new creation. Now, what is being said here is interesting. For the Lord of creatures, of course, this is Brahma. He is rising and continuing the new creation by his predestination. That means that Brahma, the actions of Brahma that create our illusory universe, are arising from divine karmic traces. So we have the curious situation of the creator of the universe creating the divine karmic traces and simultaneously being compelled by the divine karmic traces. That's what's meant by the predestination, to commence a new creation. The universe exists for a very long period of time in the mind of the creator, but it comes and goes. There are long periods of nothing, no universe, called the great dissolutions. And then there are periods in which the universe is there, like a dream in the mind. Let's continue with our eyes closed, established in the silent witness. As we have been for the entire session. Only now let's process all of the karmic traces that have been touched and enlivened by this reading of the Yoga Vasishta. Karmic traces are effectively balanced by introduction of the opposite. And the mantra provides that exact solution. For even faster progress and greater effect of balancing the karmic traces, we should be practicing Trimana Sanyam during the next 20 minutes. Jai Gurudev.